Akwaaba to the Central Valley Cultural Heritage TV show. We are
Mujeres Valientes
y
y
compadres.
Compadres. Thank you for watching the show.
Mwah.
Akwaaba to the Central Valley Cultural Heritage Show. I'm Camille Moultrie, your host, and today we are here with co-host
Star Brown.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank
so tell
you.
me a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Star Brown. I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, by way of Richmond, Virginia. I'm a hip-hop lyrical poet.
Nice.
Thank you so
It's
much.
been great serving as Miss Black Fresno 2012 for this past year. Well, today we are welcoming Linda Hernandez, who will share with us her experience growing up as a field worker, her meeting with Cesar Chavez, her experience as a woman serving in the Army, and lastly, her activism work in the Central Valley. Well, thank you for being here with us tonight. Before we get started with Linda, we would like to introduce Mujeres Valientes y Compadres, who will sing for us tonight.
So hey guys, thanks for being here. Do you have a song to get us started, just to get our feet wet?
Well, thank you for inviting us, Linda, today. We are Mujeres Valientes and Compadres. I want to introduce my compadre, Robert. I want to introduce my husband, another Robert. And then this is my sister, Diana. And basically what we're here for is we're going to sing farm worker movement songs today.
And I'd like to also add that we've known Chachi from our Fresno State days back in the 70s. I won't say your age, but back in the 70s, and we all hung out together. Robert there also. We're called Mujeres Valientes from the Valley, and we sing political movement songs. And also our parents were farm workers. I remember as a child living next to a packing house, and we would have to cross the vines, the row of vines, to go see my mother at the packing house. And remember getting dressed up, and she would put me on a great box. And then during lunch, I would sing to the ladies, and they would throw coins at me. They would throw coins, and I would collect my money and run back home to the vineyards. So that was my story.
This is your story. But these are the songs that had to be sung at rallies and in picket lines. So we are Mujeres Valientes.
Firme junto al río, no nos moverán. ¡Ay! We shall not be moved.
No way!
No, no, no nos moverán. No, no, no nos moverán como un árbol firme junto al río. No nos moverán, unidos en la lucha, no nos moverán, unidos en la lucha, no nos moverán como un árbol, firme junto al río, no nos moverán. No way, no, no, we shall not be moved. No, no, we shall not be moved like a tree. Standing by the river, we shall not be moved. United in the struggle, we shall not be moved. United in the struggle, we shall not be moved like a tree. Standing by the river, we shall not be moved. No nos moverán. No, no, no nos moverán. No, no, no nos moverán como un árbol firme junto al río, no nos moverán. We'll fight for peace and justice, we shall not be moved. We'll fight for peace and justice, we shall not be moved like a tree. Standing by the river, we
very inspiring.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today, Linda.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, and we're going to go ahead and get started with some questions. So, when and where were you born?
I was born in April, great month, and I was born in Texas, right on the border, which is Rio Grande City, Texas, and I was born on a ranch. So, yeah, very interesting way to come into the world by the border, and my father was, again, taken away by the immigration.
Wow.
Wow, well, can you talk about your parents' background and how it has influenced you?
My mother was a go-getter. My father worked in the fields all his life, and he studied music, so he was a musician. And here in this country, he worked in the fields. And it's just taught me that, wow, I am going to study hard because I don't want to be working in these fields the rest of my life. But I learned a lot from my home life with my parents and my dad, and the culture, the music, the food, the dancing. I just loved it all. And I'll not forget my cultural background where I come from, because the traditions are very important to me.
Oh, great. Lots
So,
of,
yeah, how did growing up in a field working family impact your future? The future you have today, how did that past impact you now?
Well, we were migrants, so we went from town to town, crop to crop. We started in Texas whenever my dad could get back to us, and working in Texas, and we'd go to Utah for the potatoes, we'd go to Minneapolis for, I don't know what it was there in the snow, but my other brother was born there. And we ended up in California, but we moved a lot, so, you know, you didn't own a lot, you didn't take a lot, because we were migrants, and that's just the way of the life you had at that time.
well, your father was a bracero?
My father was part of the Bracero program. It started after World War II in 1945, or thereabouts, and his name was George at the time, so he came to work here under a false Social Security number, I assume, but they were allowed to come here on the program. And from there, you know, it just flowered, so I was glad to learn that that was part of my growing up, what I didn't want to do for the rest of my life.
Right, definitely. So you knew Cesar Chavez personally?
Yes, I did. I went to the compound because I was asked to go. I went with a friend, and he knew I was in college. So he asked me if I would stay and work for a year as a paid staff member under public relations and advertising and marketing for the union. And I was just honored that he would even ask.
Yes.
The only thing was that I was not done with school, so I had to make a decision. I said, you know, I'm honored. I was awed by his kindness and the power the man had. He didn't have to say much with me, but I was awed, and I had said, you know, I need to finish school so I can be of use to you and myself and others. And he supported my goals for my education.
So what was that like? I know many of us would probably love to have Cesar Chavez begging us to work for them, and we don't and haven't. And what was
Sitting
that?
across
Feel
from him,
honored.
yeah, sitting across from him at the table, you could feel the power, and he was such a gentle, kind man.
Wow.
So I was just, and living at the compound in La Paz, I said, wow, they had a swimming pool, so that kind of made me look, because I love to swim. So I was honored to know the man, and I was part of the marches that we had here in the valley for farm worker rights, because, you know, at the time, no water breaks, bathroom breaks, there was nowhere to go, you went behind a truck or whatever. So we worked in the fields most of our lives. Our summers were in the fields, that's where we got our tan. You know, we didn't get to go to the beach, although they'd ask you, oh yeah, you know, I get
Well,
nice
how
and
does
tan and
that,
stuff.
yeah, that's awesome, but how does that affect your growth? How does that impact it, actually?
Well, I learned to, I was very strong working in the fields. You didn't have, you got up at the crack of dawn and you stayed and did your job. And, you know, I learned a lot. I learned a lot from Caesar and what he was trying to do for the rights of all.
Yeah, so that's wonderful. Right, well, you were in the military.
Well, yes, that happened much, much later. I tried to keep up my college. My mother died at 44 of cancer. So, you know, my siblings, I told her I would stay and raise my brothers and sisters, and with my father's help, he was a very kind and gentle man. He was a great dad. he was always home, and he learned to cook at an old age, an older age to make the dough so we could make tortillas. Our family ate 12 dozen tortillas every 3 days.
Oh my
So talk about it, was the queen of making tortillas.
I love
Actually, I entered a contest and I won for one. Yeah,
You have to make some for us.
but it's just funny. But yeah, so raising my brothers and sisters and not really having my adolescent life, I had to decide. So once they were raised, it was a lot easier. And so I kept going to school, kept my brothers and sisters in school. I worked weekends at the church to pay for their tuition because they went to private school. So I was very lucky. I was very lucky, and all I can say is, those years with Cesar Chavez was just a challenge, and during that time, even afterwards, my father became a labor contractor, but he never told me one word. He let me be who I was, and I really thanked him for that. And I marched, and I knew my dad was a good contractor, so from working in the fields, he went to school at night to learn English, so he could pass his license. So, and we paid, and I had to stay home on weekends to pay the crews because that's how we made, our living. He says, no, we can't pick a day and an hour. They come whenever they get cleaned up and come get their checks, and that's what we did.
It's amazing he stuck together as a family, that strong family structure.
My father, because we were raised with a tight family, and we followed, we were raised Catholic, Christian. They went to Catholic school. I worked weekends at the convent and at the school, cleaning it on weekends to pay for my brothers' brothers and sisters' tuition. So I was happy to do it at the time. Didn't know better.
Well, thank you so much for sharing with us so far. We're going to take a quick musical break with Mujeres Valientes y Compadres, and we will be right back.
The title of this song is Mujeres Valientes, and it's in Spanish, and it talks about the women, the social women who are in the cities, who have culture, who has love for their children. They are mothers, but they're always in the forefront, struggling for any injustice that needs to be done in the community.
En la frente de liberación del pueblo mexicoamericano existen mujeres lindas y valientes, existen mujeres que saben luchar, existen mujeres lindas y valientes, existen mujeres que saben luchar.
We are in the city.
Ciudades y campos se forman, dando fuerza al valor, al hermano. Revolucionarias pidiendo justicia, revolucionarias dando inspiración. Revolucionarias pidiendo justicia, revolucionarias dando inspiración.
We have culture.
Su cultura, origen respetan, su color y valor son de bronce. Princesas mexicas, ganetas de vida, princesas mexicas, deporte de paz. Princesas mexicas, ganetas de vida, princesas mexicas, deporte de paz.
Son las madres de la raza nueva.
Las madres de la raza nueva, guerrilleras de gran movimiento, son las adelitas, canas bonitas, son las adelitas de revolución, son las adelitas, canas bonitas, son las adelitas de revolución. ¡Que viva la mujer! ¡Viva!
Well, welcome back to the Akwaaba Show. So, what did you think of that musical performance?
I absolutely adored it. Oh my goodness, it's very powerful, and I can feel the great energy. As an artist, it makes me have a whole lot of projects and ideas that run through my head, and I look forward to working with you in the future.
It was great. It was very, Mujeres Valientes means valiant women, right? So that's a very, inspiring song for women all around the world. And we have an inspiring woman here with us now, Linda.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here. So I guess what I'd like to know after hearing this song is what was the most challenging experience for you as a Latina woman growing up in the 1960s?
The challenges were tremendous because one thing, I had to be home to support my family and be responsible for them. At the same time, trying to be educated, getting my education. I drive from Madera to Fresno City College on my motorcycle to save money. The teacher would say, look at me, and I'd put my helmet under my seat and I'd sit there. And he would look at me. I said, you know what? If I can do it, anybody can do it. So I used to tell my brothers and sisters, I'll help you get through college. You just do what you want to do. But I wanted to be a role model. So I'd come from Madera on my motorcycle to City College to take my classes at night after I worked all day. I worked for a veterinarian in the daytime after high school, and then still had to be there making sure that we had dinner and our tortillas, 12 dozen every 3 days. So we ate and we worked hard in the fields. Weekends were working, and my dad worked every day in the fields, so that was difficult. Sundays was most of our day off, which was very nice. So the challenges were tremendous, keeping the family together, working full time, coming to school at night. So I didn't have much of a life at that time, but it was probably kept me out of trouble. So
That's right.
I'm thankful for that.
Well, you joined the military as a young woman. What led you to that decision?
I was interested in furthering my education, and I didn't know if I was going to have enough because, I worked and it all went to the family, so you didn't really have a lot. So I was really challenged to keep going to school. I love learning. I will never stop learning till the day I pass to the other side because I think it's so important. Life is a journey, and it's a process of learning regardless. But to be more structured in something you enjoy or want, or to develop your skills. And then with the technology, the way it is growing, I mean, you have a phone and you need to be able to use the darn thing more ways because it's technology is wonderful. And I want to be up on that, and I want to make sure that, I have the education, and I'm a role model for my brothers and sisters at that time. That's what that was about.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for serving our country.
Well, thank you very much. You're very welcome.
And with the progression for women's rights and everything, from the past and the present that's still going on, how a lot of people believe there's, unfairness in the workplace, in every aspect of life for women. And so what was it like for you being a woman in the military, your day-to-day life as a woman there?
I think the first maybe 14, 15 years were fine because I was in the medical profession, and I helped my soldiers whenever there was a need. I ran the clinics because I happened to have some college background when I joined the military, so I already went in with a couple of stripes. I renounced a commission because I did not want to be an officer because your life changes when you're an officer, which is fine. I was good as an enlisted. I went as high as they would let me go, let me put it that way.
Okay.
So it was a challenge. I worked in the medical field, like I say, and I always had air conditioning or heating because I worked with blood products. I worked with the patients, so I always had to maintain the cleanliness and the clarity of what I had to do. But first you're a soldier. You carry a weapon, and then you're a nurse, or you do your job. Because if we get attacked, you have to be able to protect your hospital, and then you take care of the patient. So it was interesting with the military. I served 23 years, and I was activated in this last war in 2003. I was drafted. It's called stop loss, and I was in for 23 years. Like I say, I got out in 06, 07, having PTSD, just all the things you come back with, and being angry because I got pulled out of my apartment, my job, my family. So it was difficult. The last few years were very difficult, especially when I was drafted. So the stop loss was not a fun and game thing for me. I came back and I had to go into the Veterans Hospital and just talk to a bunch of people. So I'm glad to be here.
So with that, being a woman that affects great change, as you have and continue to do, with that change comes struggle, challenges, situations. So do you have a specific situation that happened in your 15 years with the military?
23.
23, okay. In your 23 years with the military that you can recall that you were just either blown away as in, wow, that was so unfair because I'm a woman, or anything you can recall?
In the medical field, it's a little different because we're there to help. The politics are everywhere.
Right.
The political arena embraces every position everywhere. I went out of country Panama, Honduras. I was there when the tanks came into Honduras and started bombing, and we had to leave. And we lived in the jungles. We lived in the jungles in tents, and it was not a fun life. I don't camp very much now, but
Right. I
I
wouldn't
want that
either.
new
my
campground.
gosh.
So, in Panama, we stayed in places that were conducive. We couldn't go into town. We had to be careful, not uniforms, because a lot of people still have trouble with our American military, and we're probably in a lot of countries. And all I can say is that it opened my eyes to the politics, the political arena for the rights of women, the rights of work, everything. I mean, it touches everything, and it's still not equal. Sorry to say,
Yeah.
It's not.
still not equal. So the military, I learned a lot. I progressed in my profession. I was able to work on the outside if I chose to. I chose not to follow the health field. I needed to get something a little lighter and a little more enjoyable and a lot more fun.
All
Right.
right. Well,
So-
speaking of fun, in college, you were interested in theater.
I was interested in theater, but I started as a pre-med student. That's what got me started. And I started the first medical club on campus, which was the Chicano Health Organization, because it was the first pre-med club. And I was so excited, but with the duties of home and driving back and forth from Madero to Fresno State, it was pretty difficult. So I'm sorry, I forgot the question that you just asked.
Oh, no, I know. I just want to know a little bit about theater.
Oh, the
Yeah.
teatro. I joined teatro because it was a way to express myself. I mean, we talked about the Soldado Raso is a play about the soldier that goes away and comes back and all the struggles that the soldiers have. And usually it's male oriented, but now many more women are going into the military. So teatro afforded me that venue so I could just express myself and talk about the issues that you really couldn't talk about, and you could talk about them on stage because it's a play.
That's right.
Even though it was for real. We were getting challenged, getting to school, staying in school, having the money to continue your education, to buy the books. Man, I gotta pay the light bill. What am I gonna do? I
Trying
need
to
buy
stay
books.
determined within. Yeah.
So your financial aid, your scholarship, it just makes a difference. You had to really know how to budget your time and your money, and know how to cook beans and potatoes and top ramen in 10,000 ways.
Yeah. So to this day, you're still attending school. So what is it in you that encourages you to keep going to classes and learning? And
Well, learning is a big part of my life, and I wanted to get my GI Bill back. I lost my first one as I didn't use it within the time. And this one I was not going to lose. I put extra money into my GI Bill so I could come back and study something like photography and film. I'm interested in film, actually. I think it's such a fun venue. You can express yourself. You can do documentaries, and I can talk about the issues that still affect us to this day.
All right. Wow. Well, you're currently involved in numerous organizations here in the Central Valley.
Yes,
Yes.
I volunteer at several organizations.
Tell us about
One
those.
being the American Indian Veterans Association. We support any American Indian cultural events, and we also present the colors at funerals at our fallen soldiers at their final resting places. So actually I just called up for a funeral for Friday morning. So we present our colors and we present them to the soldier and then the families when they pass away. And so we're involved in powwows and things like that because, after all, the American Indian was the first one here. So they can't tell me anything about the Mayflower, sorry. But, so I really can't say enough about that.
well, thank you so much. We are going to take another musical break with Mujeres Valientes y Compadres.
The song we're going to sing is De Colores. And what it is, it's a unity song. This is a song that we sang at the churches and at the rallies with the United Farm Workers movement. And it's De Colores.
De colores se visten los campos en la primavera. De colores son los pajarillos que vienen de afuera. De el gallo. Canta. Canta el gallo con el kiri, 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 kiri. La gallina con el cara, 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 cara. Los polluelos con el pío, 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 pío. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. Thank you.
Coming also on Akwaaba will be Akwaaba World Grooves music video.
Akwaaba the Show is proud to announce the new baby born from the Akwaaba series, Akwaaba World Grooves, a 30-minute music video production with various artists from all over the world, with new sounds, new grooves, and new vibes.
Everybody make your rock them start to wobble. Spin your rock and start to wobble.
With your host, Auguste Kouadio, and yours truly, Alice Jarnigan. We're going to be grooving all over the world. So bring your dancing shoes and be ready to groove with us. On Akwaaba, we thank you.
So Linda, there is a organization, AIVA, that you were speaking of. Can you tell us
Yes.
more about that?
AIVA is American Indian Veterans Association. And like I was mentioning, we do present colors and we provide scholarships.
All right.
We also attend funerals and present the family the colors and a flag. So we're present at most powwows.
Okay.
And since it's an American Indian Foundation, I forgot to bring my medal. Darn. I wanted to show that
Yeah.
off, that we have our own
Wow.
regalia. People call it regalia. It's really not. It's that's just a word I use so other people can understand what I mean by the by what we wear.
Oh, okay. And there's another organization that you're part of as well?
Yes, I belong to Suchi Medical Team in Fresno. We are worldwide. We've been in Fresno over 20 years. We provide free medical care and services to the uninsured and low income. We provide dental, medical, we have pediatrics. So you can also do a Facebook or a
Yes.
Google and find
Great.
out our calendar, where we're at. And I feel good about giving back to our community because
That's right.
you know, I can be flying around with Doctors Without Borders everywhere, but I've already done the military thing and going to other countries and providing medical support there. I want to do it in my community because we need it here. There's
That's
too many
correct.
people in my community that need it, and I love this organization. Happens to be a Buddhist organization, the Chinese culture. They're from Taiwan, and of course it took a woman to start it. Sorry, guys. But a woman started this with 30 other housewives, and they started putting in like half a penny at that time was very small a day, because it teaches you to give daily instead of putting 30 cents at the end of the month. It's too easy.
Yeah.
So you learn how to give to others that don't have, and you teach the rich that that is how you give. How much is enough? How much is enough? As long as you have your health, you know how much is enough. So I'm really proud of Suchi. It's spelled T-Z-U-C-H-I, and it's free
Suchi.
medical. Suchi Medical
Free
Clinic.
medical.
Free medical clinic, and I've been with them for a couple of years, and I will continue to support them and what they do. We beat FEMA and the Red Cross, you know, hands down. I'm sorry, you guys, but
Well,
we're
do
there
they
to
do
support.
they accept donations?
We accept donations.
great.
We're a nonprofit, And so if you know of anyone that needs medical services, please look up us on Facebook, get our calendar when you want to send someone that you know needs it, because right now with the insurance thing now that comes into Obamacare will start October to January is the enrollment period. So you get penalized if you don't have insurance, but it's still going to be subsidized for those that can't afford. And you know, it's a thing with the employers now, but I really support Suchi Medical Clinic. It's just one of my top organizations, along with a few others that I support.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So are you happy with the progress of women has made in the last 50 years? Do you see any improvement that needs to be made?
I've seen a little improvement. I can wear pants now. I mean, there's a few improvements. We're still not equal. You know, it's not equal pay. The political arena is just, we have to have people in there that are going to support the causes that make this country great. I've traveled, and I still think we have the best of a lot of different countries in this world, in this United States. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Right. Well, you know, you've traveled all over to multiple places that some of us would only dream of. And so has traveling to different countries and seeing the world impacted, you know, your perspective on life, the way you look at things, the way you see women's rights, all of that?
Yes.
How's that impacted you?
I was really impressed when I went to China, because they really empower women to study, to go to school. And they're learning English now after the Olympics. They're learning English because they know that's one of the powerful languages for business.
Yes.
So China really impressed me. And they're so respectful because that's innate in their culture, the respect they have for others and for their elders. So that really turned my head a little bit about China. They're going to be very powerful. They already own a lot of us, us. They take our debt here in the United States. So China was the one. Italy, of course, the museums. You look at your past and the political arena there. That seemed like they were having a march every other day because of workers' rights. So they really voice their opinions. And most of the countries that I've gone in Europe are real progressive, but yet they're not. And women is still second and trying to be kept submissive in a lot of countries. And it's unfortunate because women are very powerful. They used to rule, you know, when the Amazon women were powerful. Educated, that's my top priority. Educate yourself. I can't say that enough. So traveling to other countries has taught me that, you know, we have it pretty good here. We don't have it, it's not great, it's not the utmost, but we still need to keep working on that. Empowering women, and then empowering their partners, empowering the family, the culture, our traditions. They're very important. They're just, they are, and we need to keep those.
Well, you know, I was recently reading a book, and it talked a lot about, you know, how a lot of the world's issues would be solved if women were educated. And that kind of, what you're talking about right now kind of sparked that thought in me and made me realize, is that kind of the way you see it is, you know, if women knew about what they're capable of and what they deserve and their rights and were educated about those things, that the world would be a better place for women. And, you know, it's kind of crazy, but a lot of people view women as the problem solvers, the solutions to many issues going on in the world. So would you say that's something you kind of agree with? Is that
well,
women...
we started as nurturers, and we still are. Women will always be the nurturers, and although some men are good nurturers, and you can develop all those traits, but I still think education, know what's going on in politics. It affects you, whether you know it or not. It affects you. The rights of women, rights of work, the rights of education. It affords you an avenue so you can make an informed decision in whatever is your challenge at the time. Without that, you're just kind of guessing and pulling straws. But even taking mathematics, it gives you a venue to how to steer, you know, wait, if I do this, this happens, and this, it's a domino effect. So I really think education is the #1 priority. It's not the degrees you have on the wall. It's what you learn, what you take away. It's not that you can collect those until, you know, the
Forever,
cows
yeah.
come home, whatever. But, but it's just what you learn when you go to school. It's what you learn and how you develop yourself, because you're a changing story. You're an evolving person. You're going to change.
Yes.
And if your partner doesn't change along with you, sometimes you
Some get left
go
behind.
alone. Some get left behind, unfortunately.
Definitely.
And some don't. And I always make a joke. Someone say, "Oh, we've been married 40 years." I go, "Congratulations, you've been married 40 years without killing each other."
That's like my mother said all the time.
We don't want
Sorry,
to. We
Dad.
don't want to divorce them with some, but sometimes we will sure want to hurt them. You know, that's sad to say, but that's just a comment that I make, because, you know, you got to keep up, and you got to read, and you got to see. You know, I don't say stay glued to the TV and watch the news 24/7. That is not healthy.
Right.
So, you know, the primary things: take care of your health, take care of your family, take care of your education. Know what to do and say. It's important as a woman. I am so glad that I found out who I was. I didn't find that out until I was in college. I'm a powerful Latina, Chicana, educated, street smart, worked my butt off in the fields, made me very strong, and now I'm gonna take it a little easy and do the things I enjoy. And still, I'm politically active. I support the organizations and those things that we fight for our rights.
That's right. Well, you also developed a spiritual perspective. So how has that
Yes.
how has that
I'm
changed?
into yoga, and I really like the Buddhist philosophy because it's about forgiveness and being present in the moment, and not being judgmental, accepting. But sometimes you have to put people out of your life that are toxic, and that's okay.
Yeah, I studied a little about Buddhism, and it's about peace, and
It's
I really
about peace
that's
and
amazing. Yeah.
calmness, and as a veteran,
Being one
it's
within yourself.
difficult sometimes. So
Yes.
so you just have to put yourself in that realm and accept people. Look at the good in people.
Good, yes.
And then if the bad keeps coming out, I says, well, okay, you know, my road's going this way, and you can continue your road.
Yeah,
So
transition.
I'm really happy about the spiritual journey that I've now embarked on. I think it's changed my life and my way of thinking, and it's not about the stuff, it's about the people. What am I going to say in my deathbed? I wish I had more fun. I wish I gave more, you know, laughed more, danced more, and I continue to do those things while I still can.
Yes.
So
So,
I'm really-
so you say you do yoga. I know yoga is very popular. I enjoy yoga. So I'm curious, what's your favorite yoga pose?
Well, it's always the salutation of the sun, because that incorporates different poses in one salutation, and that works your joints and your muscles, and we're not flexible enough. We get home or we sit too long, we get up and, oh my gosh, this hurts. So if you keep flexible and, you know, watch your diet. You know, meat's good, but you gotta not eat it every day.
Right.
You know, it's, I'm not cutting down the farmers, believe me. Don't want any Oprah situations here. But we have to watch our diet. You know,
correct.
diabetes and high blood pressure, that's rampant in our culture. And we have to watch everything we eat. We just have to kind of
Moderation.
Moderation is the word. Yes, moderation.
So you sound like the just all around woman. You know, you're healthy, doing yoga, have
Beautiful,
your spiritual life,
inside and out. Oh my goodness.
educated, all of that. So, you know, I feel like we've learned so much about your accomplishments, everything you've done. What goals do you have now for your future? What do you look forward to?
Ooh, well, along with all the other ones, that no one should be hungry. I always pray for peace, love, happiness, prosperity, and health. Those are the top ones that I really meditate on, because they're all important. And I always pray for the sick, the hungry, the homeless, the dying, the widows, the children, the students, the immigrants, the soldiers, and our veterans. And those are my daily prayers.
All right.
Wow,
Amen.
you are so inspiring.
Thank you very much. You're very welcome.
Wow. I'm
Well,
touched.
yeah, me too. Oh my goodness. Well, what do you like to do when you're not busy with the community
Oh
or
my goodness.
seeking your, yeah.
My father was a musician, played the violin, and we grew up with classical music, which is really strange, but anyway, we learned how to dance the Charleston and, you know, classical music, and dancing was a big part of my life, so I enjoy dancing while I can still move a little bit. Food, I love to cook, and I
right.
love good tasting food, healthy food. Organic is maybe a little more expensive, but it keeps the doctor bills down. So you really have to focus on that. So music, food, traditions, culture, family, and just honoring others, women, people that are struggling, honoring your elder, you know, just being thankful that they're in my life, like the group that's playing today. I'm blessed to have known them, met them in college. We all went to college together, so it's just a blessing. I just count my blessings every day, and I'm thankful for them every day.
Yeah, you know, after all that you've experienced in your life and gone through, you know, what is the most important message that you want viewers to leave with today?
Wow, that's deep. Gosh, I could go on and on. I just want to know that I made a difference in this world, that I left a footprint. Oh, when they remember Linda, Chachi's my nickname. When they remember Linda, they go, you know, she was okay. She gave back. She always was for educating, you know, opening up doors for others. Because when you do that, you win, they win, everybody wins. Instead of me, my, you know, we need to help others up. And then you help yourself without knowing. When you give, without it costing you, when you give, you get so much back. So I just teach others to, you know, just remember those that have helped you so you can help others. So educate yourself. Educate yourself.
Thank you so much. Well, you've definitely been an inspiration to me.
Yeah,
Just this
you really
moment.
have.
Oh my gosh, you are extremely amazing, and thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much for being with here.
You're
being
so
with us
welcome.
today.
And Pete, namaste.
Well, thank you very much for being here with us today. We really, you know, enjoyed having you and learning all about what you've been through, and just so interesting.
You're
Thank you.
very welcome.
You've inspired me. You really have.
You're very welcome.
You made a footprint.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for watching the Akwaaba Show. Our guest next month will be Jothany Blackwood, who is the Dean of Fine Performing and Communication Arts at Fresno City College.
This is the picture of my parents who married in Mexico in the state of Jalisco. They came to this country to start their journey as migrants. This picture is of my grandfather, my father's father, who was killed because of his political beliefs. He died in my father's arms. My father was 15 years old at the time. He was 6 feet tall, my grandfather. He was a very hard worker also. This is my high school picture. I had short hair, and I grew up working in the fields. We started in Texas, followed the crops to Idaho. Then we went to Minneapolis, Minnesota, where my other brother was born. And then we ended up in California because my mother wanted us to have roots. She was tired. My father was part of the Bracero program before he married my mother. This is a picture of my father picking fruit. This is another picture of my father. He's second from the left. He's got the white shirt with a baseball cap flipped up. And I remember that picture. I was very young, and this is when they picked cotton before the machines came. This is another picture of my father in the field holding a shovel. I guess these are some of our first swimming pools. We didn't know any better. And that's all we had time for because we couldn't go into town. I was a young child, but I remember I always loved the water. And to this day, I'm an avid swimmer because I enjoy it, because my mother taught me how to swim at a young age. In this picture, he's playing the guitar. My father graduated from the School of Music in Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico. His major was the violin, but he played the piano and the guitar.
And we had many a fiesta in our home and parties, and he always played. So this picture of me, I'm in a helicopter because I used to get choppered around because I was an interpreter and I was in the medical field in the military. I joined a station hospital. I was with an evac hospital and a combat support hospital. I was in the military for 23 years. I learned a lot, and I was able to give service to the people in the villages that we went in when we got choppered in, to Honduras, Panama, and to seeing how other people lived. And we live in a great country. This was another difficult time when I was in school. My brother got drafted in the Army. This is a picture of him holding a rifle in the bush. He would tell me, this elephant grass is 3 feet deep. So when he came home, he had malaria. The quinine pills would make him very sick. So I knew what he was talking about because I also had to take those when I was out of country. My brother was missing in action. He was a prisoner of war and a Purple Heart. He made it back. He struggled and he suffered a lot. So I'm thankful that my brother made it back. This is a picture of my brother by the river. I guess sometimes they had to wash their clothes. So this is how they survived. Just more pictures of him that I hadn't looked at in many, many years. This is my brother at base camp with some friends because they hung together. They protected each other. And it was nice to have friends because that's all you had to cover your back when you're gone. And this is my brother by the water buffalo. Being in the military, I know how important that water buffalo is. It's where our water's at, and it's where it has to be purified. Because you have to drink the water that's available in the country you go to. And we have to put a lot of chemicals in it. So we really thank our water purification teams that have that available for us, even if it's not the best in the world. But the irony of my brother being in Vietnam was that I was protesting the war here at the same time when my brother got drafted. So we were protesting and we went to Los Angeles that day in August 1970. The Brown Berets, who we have a local chapter, and there's local chapters in some of the colleges all over the country. But our Brown Berets here were politically involved, and we supported each other. These are our Brown Berets, some of the ones from Fresno at that time. And we had to be very careful because Los Angeles Police Department made it very challenging for us at that time. So these three brothers in their uniforms were walking in the parade. This is myself at that time in the parade, one of the few pictures that I have because I always took the pictures. So I was lucky to have this one while I'm walking in the parade. This is in the park. As you can see, they're arresting someone, and we have tear gas everywhere. My car got stuck in that park in Los Angeles, in East LA at that time. A very important journalist was killed during this protest, and that was Mr. Ruben Salazar, because he had the voice and the gift of writing with a pen. I believe that his demise was an unfortunate circumstance of some of our protests. I want to just mention that I believe in defending our rights as human beings and the impact of coming together as a community to defend those rights. to protect our families and our home. And I want to thank this station for allowing me to voice my opinion and what I believe in for this great country of ours. And I want to thank the station, the people who put this on, the hard workers behind the cameras, everyone. Thank you so much. And have a great, great, beautiful day. Blessings and lots of love. Thank you.
This song is Brown-Eyed Children of the Sun. And it talks about the families, the campesinos in the fields, the struggles that they went through. And all they wanted was equal rights and economic justice for their children, their families, brown-eyed children of the sun. Back